When the storm clouds of opposition begin rolling by and claims are made against Freemasonry, a Freemason will stand up to teach the truth. He'll oppose the biased lies, the naive suggestions, and the incorrect methodologies against those who make a blatantly false claim about what Freemasonry does. That's what this video is about. The claim that I'm going to discuss is the claim that secretly Freemasonry has a Luciferian worship. As naive and silly as this is, there really are people out there who believe that Freemasonry's worship is worshiping the devil, which is silly. And I want to share some ideas with some real Freemasons, some seriously well-informed Freemasons, showing that this is just blatantly false. My first Freemason that I want to talk about and use is Jim Tressner. He's a 33rd degree Grand Cross Freemason. He is the director of the Masonic Leadership Institute and editor of the Oklahoma Mason. He contributes regularly to the Scottish Rite Journal, and he's the book reviewer of that. He is also a volunteer writer for the Oklahoma Scottish Rite Mason and a video script consultant for the National Masonic Renewal Committee. He is the director of the 33rd degree conferral team and the director of work at the Guthrie Scottish Rite Temple in Guthrie, Oklahoma, as well as a lifetime member of the Scottish Rite Research Society. He's written the anecdotal biography of Albert Pike, The Man Beyond the Monument, and he's a member of the steering committee of the Masonic Information Center in Illinois. In other words, he's a seriously well-informed Mason. I find a series of questions and answers in the Transactions, the Idaho Lodge of Research for June 1996, number 2, where he discusses several issues. Jim Tressner has noted, this is on page 7 of the Idaho Transactions of the Idaho Research Lodge. The question was asked, did Albert Pike really say that all Masons were secret followers of Lucifer? Tressner says, no. In many anti-Mason books, you'll see what is supposed to be a quotation from Pike saying that all Masons of the higher degrees are secret worshippers of Lucifer, or that we regard Lucifer as God. The historical fact is that these words were written in 1894, 3 years after Pike had died. They're forged. It's the fraud of Leo Taxel, who had, at the end of his 12 to 15 year lie that he perpetuated for a decade or longer, he confessed. And I mean, that confession is all over the place. You can find it in Herodom, the Transactions of the Scottish Research Society, Volume 5, 1996, starting on page 137, The Confession of Leo Taxel, where he showed that he had lied his whole life about that. Arturo de Hoyos and S. Brent Morris's book, Is It True What They Say About Freemasonry? This is the 3rd revised edition, just out this year, 2010. They talk all about Leo Taxel and Luciferian Masonry. They even show how a certain Christian minister, Pastor Ron Carlson of Christian Ministries International, taught this uncritically because he didn't bother to get to the source or find the correct historical context. He simply gleefully pounced on the idea that Masons worship Lucifer. And he was wrong. They show how his quoting of Albert Pike is incorrect, that all he was doing was quoting a forgery that had fooled even this Christian minister. They show that on page 69 and 70 about these false allegations. Tressner notes that
Several writers of the anti-Masonic books have simply repeated the quotation without checking its source or authenticity. Taxil's public confession has apparently never been either accepted or looked into by people who want to stick Freemasonry with devil worship. And it's really silly of them to take that stance. The idea of Freemasonry being a religion, and true, there are some Freemasons who will teach this, but for the vast majority of us, we don't teach that. And Casey Andrew, in the Philalethees, the Journal of Masonic Research and Letters for April 2002, has a wonderful little article, Masonry and Christianity. And this is on page 31, 32, and 33. On page 31, he says, according to my research and experience, Freemasonry is not a religion, it is a philosophy. While philosophy is pliable and adaptable, religion may be rigid and dogmatic. And the intellectual philosophies of Freemasonry, when first discovered and then accepted, what these do is provide a profound solution of how to live with brotherly love in our unbrotherly world. That is, in essence, what Freemasonry is trying to inculcate within the members and try to teach. Rex R. Hutchins, in A Bridge to Light, a study in Masonic ritual and philosophy. This was published in 2000 by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite. He says, though various interpretations of the principle of evil have been created by philosophers and theologians of the past, and whether one accepts this as a shadow of the good, this concept of evil, or whether they personify it into the concept of Satan or Lucifer, the opportunity for the practice of virtue in the face of adversity, Freemasonry doesn't make any judgment about Satan or the devil. The whole point of Freemasonry is that neither philosophy, religion, nor Masonry have provided an answer to the great enigma of evil to the satisfaction of everyone. It's just simply something that is. It is enough for the moment, however, to recognize that both natural and moral evils exist, and that much of this evil can be overcome by simple human exertion. This is what Masonry is doing. We know there's good to do. We know that sometimes you have to stand for the right thing and do it because it's the right thing. We want to build character in people so that you automatically choose to do the right thing because it's how you are. It's what you are. It's who you are. As a Freemason, I know I don't worship the devil. I happen to be the world authority on what I believe and what I do. And so, with that basis in mind, as a Freemason, I have never seen devil worship. Those who argue from that proposition are simply naive, or else they're being deliberately deceptive for whatever purposes or reasons. And they're absolutely wrong. It's just that simple.